Where are all my perfectionists? I must admit, I am a recovering perfectionist. So I know that many of you out there are still dealing with that. And I know that in your pursuit of perfection, it's possibly holding you back from reaching your true potential. Hi, I'm Valerie, and this week on Business by Design, I'm diving deep into overcoming perfectionism so that you can step into 2025 with confidence and unstoppable momentum. This is our last podcast episode for 2024, and I want to help you transform those high standards that you're carrying, because that's what perfectionism is all about, into your greatest strengths. So join me and let's talk about it.
Hello, I'm Valerie Priester, and this is the Business by Design podcast. Are you a woman entrepreneur who absolutely loves what you do and enjoy helping others, but for some reason, you can't seem to get out of your own way? You can't seem to get out of your head and really create the level of success that you desire? I get it. I truly understand. I've been there too. You see, I spent years searching for what do they call it? The holy grail, the secret sauce, right? To success. And what I learned along the way is all of the women that I knew that were very successful had one thing in common, and that was their way of thinking. Now, I know you may be saying it can't be that simple, can't be that easy, right? But the truth is, the number one key or secret, however you want to label it, to success is your way of thinking. It's your mindset. It's what you believe and what you think is possible for you. And so that's exactly why I created this podcast. I want to help you get out of your head, get out of your own way. I want to help you get into more profits, more passion, and more power. I want to help you to shift away from old beliefs and release old ways of thinking, self sabotaging conversations, and help you shift into new beliefs that support your goals and bring lasting success. I want to help you design your victory so you can create the business and life that you desire. So if you're ready for some real talk about how to do that, if you're ready to really make the shift and move into greater possibilities and greater success, you're in the right place.
My friends, let's talk about perfectionism. Perfectionism often masquerades as a positive trait, but when we really dig deep, right, perfectionism can drive us to either excel or achieve the goals that we want, or it can really keep us stuck, right? And for many successful women like yourself, it can become that double-edged sword, right? Perfectionism creates like unrealistic standards. It fosters self-doubt. It can ultimately hinder all progress if you allow it to. Now, I always say I'm a recovering perfectionist, so I know this all too well. I know how it is to create, let's say, a coaching program and then recreate it 4 or 5 times before I even put it out there, right? Because of my perfectionism, right? But recognizing that perfectionism isn't about striving for excellence, but it's more about fearing failure. That's the first step towards really liberating yourself from perfectionism. So let me say that again. It's not about striving for excellence. It is more about fearing failure, right? So let's talk about what perfectionism is actually costing you, right? Because it can lead to procrastination, because the fear of not meeting your own high standards makes you start really doubting yourself, and it creates this space of thinking that you're not good enough, right? um, it can also stifle your creativity. So if you're like if you're a coach or if you're in any type creative field, when you deal with perfectionism, it can really hinder all your creative thoughts, right? Um, because then you're kind of working on this need for everything to be just right, right? And this leaves like little room for innovative ideas. It leaves certainly little room for any creativity. And the truth is, nothing is ever just right, right? Um, Perfectionism can also strain your relationships, both your personal and your professional relationships. Why? Because as the pressure that you place not only on yourself, that can extend to those around you. So think about, trying to be in a relationship that's healthy. And if you're this perfectionist, then what will happen is you'll start expecting the other person to be just as perfect when the truth is neither one of you are perfect, right? So how do you overcome perfectionism? That's the key. How do you overcome it? I can tell you for me, it has been a lifelong journey because I still fall into perfectionism from time to time, right? I have to become aware that that's what's happening so that I can, do the things that I need to do to keep me moving forward and to keep me in progress. One of the things that I remember more than anything is that progress is better than perfection, right? So here's some tips to help you overcome the perfectionism that you may be facing. One is embrace in imperfection, right? Not everything is going to be perfect. Nothing is ever really perfect. So accept that, mistakes are a part of the journey. Every time you have a misstep, it's really an opportunity to learn and grow. That's all it is. It doesn't mean that you're a failure, right? So instead of aiming for flawless execution, focus on progress and continuous improvement, right? Every time mistakes happen or, things don't go the way that you want them to go, always look for the lessons because that's how you improve, that's how you grow. The other thing is you want to make sure that you're always setting realistic goals, right? Break those big hairy goals that you have, break them down into smaller, manageable tasks. And then when you're, setting achievable milestones, this will help maintain momentum and it reduce the overwhelm that perfectionism brings. I think that's one of the biggest things that I always experienced. Every time I fell into perfectionism, I also then felt like I was overwhelmed. Like this is too much to do. This is too much to take on. When in actuality, it never is. It's just that I put too much pressure on myself to be perfect, right? The other thing you want to do is make sure that you prioritize self compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you offer others, right? Acknowledge your efforts, celebrate, the small victories, and then reinforce a positive mindset. Talk to yourself kindly, right? Don't criticize yourself and judge yourself and beat up on yourself because things didn't go the way that you planned. You must show self-compassion. And so the way that I remember to do that is always to think about, is this something that, I would share with a young person, my daughter, even when she was young? Would I say these things to her? Is this the way that, I would react to her if something didn't go the way that she planned? Would I judge her? Would I criticize her? Would I, do all those things? And let me just be honest and transparent. I probably did at some point in my life because I think I've always been a perfectionist, and that's what I meant by, it can expand into your relationships, because I do remember my daughter saying to me that she always felt like nothing was good enough, right? That comes from my perfectionism, and that's how it can affect others around you. The other thing is you want to shift your focus, right? Concentrate on the value you're providing rather than flawless delivery, no matter what your business is. If you are delivering value to your clients, which I know that you are, right? Focus on that. and not get caught up in, oh my goodness, I have to deliver everything absolutely flawless, no mistakes, no missteps, none of that, because that you can't do that, right? You want to remember that your impact isn't solely determined by perfection, but by the way that you show up authentic and the passion that you bring to your work. Okay? And then you want to limit overcommitment. Stop saying yes to everything. Learn to say no, right? Delegate tasks when necessary. Overextending yourself in the pursuit of perfection can lead to burnout and decreased effectiveness. So now you're not giving your excellence, right? You're not serving from a place of excellence. So learn to say no. And then you want to implement some time constraints. Give yourself deadlines to complete tasks, right? This will prevent you from like over polishing, or for me in the past, like recreating the program 4 or 5 times, or you know, going after different choices, right? If you need to pick choices for something or select choices or something, this can keep you from just spinning your wheels and going over and over and second guessing yourself over and over and not making a decision, right? So you want to make sure that you put some time constraints on it. If there's a task that you need to do and you need to make a decision from this task, set a timer, right? Give yourself an hour, give yourself 30 minutes, whatever it takes. But at the end of that time, you must make a decision. Okay. And then, of course, always seek feedback, right? You can engage with mentors, coaches like myself, right? We all have different perspectives. And sometimes someone else can help you see the things that you're not able to see because you're too involved in it, you're too close to it, right? And especially when we're trying to operate in perfectionists, as a perfectionist, we can't see where we're spinning our wheels or we're second guessing ourselves or we're looking for that perfect outcome, right? So, constructive feedback can help you see beyond your perfectionist tendencies and recognize those areas for improvement, right? So, always be willing to seek feedback from others. Now, how do you prepare for success in 2025 and leave this whole perfectionist thing behind you? As you start to shed the chains of perfectionism, right? You're paving the way for a even more empowered and impactful 2025. So embrace your journey with confidence, knowing that your resilience and adaptability are the greatest assets that you have. It's not the perfectionism, right? And when you focus on growth over perfection, that's when you position yourself to seize opportunities that may be showing up, and also to make a lasting difference in your entrepreneur endeavors, right? So remember, designing your victory is a choice. Your capacity for greatness isn't defined by flawless execution, but by your courage to take bold steps forward. So embrace imperfection and watch how it transforms your path to success. Until next time, stop trying to be perfect and just be productive. We'll see you next year.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Business by Design podcast. If you love what you're hearing each week, let me know by leaving a rating and a review. And don't forget to follow the show so you don't miss out on proven mindset techniques, strategies, and tools to help you design your victory and create the business and life you desire. Also, if you're ready to talk about the business and life that you really want, head on over to valeriepriester.com and schedule your private business breakthrough clarity call. Until next week, remember, designing your victory is a choice. Start today.